this is the Tarzan. So reportedly for most people, this is the worst.
This is like a... So it's an assault course that you have to do in like 12 minutes? 13 minutes. It's like a lung buster, isn't it?
It's fucking horrendous.
If the others were zone 4, this is zone 5.
Yeah, this is like above that probably. It's horrific. There's not a lot of things you can do that put you in that position, in that, like physiologically. It's just mental. But yeah, it's 13 minutes. It's like a 13-minute sprint, effectively. Like imagine.
But you're also navigating like obstacles and stuff.
Yeah, that's why it's so aerobically challenging because of all the extra stuff you've got to negotiate. But so that's the day after. I think for this was the one I was the most confident for because it's the short, sharp sort of fizz that I'm right at.
Pocket rocket.
Yeah, and so I was almost 100% sure I was going to pass it. It was still shit and horrendous, but I was good at it and I was decent at the obstacles. And yeah, so you start on something called the death slide. Happy with that. And you basically have a rope. And
I've seen this.
Yeah,
this
you're
is
not
like
clipped in at all.
Yeah.
And you just get off this thing and you have to slide down to the start position. That's when your time starts. Then you'll climb this ladder as quick as you can. You have to like get this rope in your hands. So you sort of hand over hand this mini rope, get the big rope, swing on it like Tarzan onto this other thing, and then you're effectively negotiating the high obstacle course which is about 30 feet in the air. It's a bit dodgy. No, you're obviously not clipped in or anything. For the first 6 minutes ish. That's a tough bit because that's the bit you haven't been exposed to as much in training.
So you have practiced on all of these before. Was it just the final test is a case of bolting it all together?
Yeah, you've also done run throughs. You've done a good amount of run throughs, but it is just a fact like anything can go wrong on those kind of things. Yeah. Like you can slip or you can. Well,
the fact that you're doing it at like a breakneck speed as well, you're throwing caution to the wind, really. Aren't you?
So like a few lads in our troop were scared of heights, and so there's a bit at the end. They might have fucking taken it out now. I think they have because it was injuring a lot of people. But it's called the punch through the net. So you have to run, you walk, jog, sprint off this board. So it's like a 2 foot wide, 6 foot long little plank of like a walking the plank on a ship. And you run off it and you jump through the air about 2 meters and you've got to punch through this cargo net. And so you're supposed to hit it on your armpit. So you're supposed to get through and then clamp down. What a lot of people were doing was like hitting their elbow and tearing their pec and all this shit.
That just sounds like a recipe for fucking shoulder injuries, that does.
It was horrendous. We had 2 lads in our troop early on that ripped their pec open on that and dislocated their shoulders, all sorts. But anyway, these lads were scared of heights, and so what they did in the run throughs, they would walk jog. You're supposed to walk jog, sprint, and jump. It's not that bad, right? And they would walk jog and just stop at the end. They would just stop themselves. No. I can't do it. And then the lead PTO was like, "You lads are supposed to be fucking bootnecks next week." It's like they were not happy. But I don't think they must have done it because they're both passed out in the end. So they must have eventually done it. But yeah. If you're scared of heights or anything, it's going to be that extra level of like caution you've got.
Extra level of jeopardy to contend with.
Well, it is, because like you say, you're moving at breakneck speed. It was like a little bit slippy when we did it, so it's all a bit dodgy. Yeah. And you'll run and jump across this thing to grab a rope, and that's the slippiest thing ever. It's like they've rubbed it in fucking lard or something. And you're like fucking Bambi on ice. Anyway, you get off that high obstacle course, you finish, and then I think the hardest bit comes. So you sprint then about 800 metres with no obstacles to the start of the bottom field assault course.
Okay. And these are like high walls and stuff, aren't they?
Yeah, a mix of stuff. So you sprint all the way. It's about 800 metres. It's horrendous, lung busting sprint. But then you start the assault course in that negative state. Then you start the assault course. So you start on the little tunnels. You go through some tunnels. You run round, and you go across it's called a tank trap. So you just jump 2-footed across like a 6 foot chasm of water. Yeah. Then you do the 6 foot wall, which is a normal wall. Cargo net, monkey bars. Because your hands are wet and everything's fucked, everyone hates the monkey bars. I was always hoofing at them because I do loads of pull-ups and I weighed about 4 kilos. But and then you do like these balance beam walls, which are probably about 12 foot in the air, which are fucking very sketchy. You jump off them, and you have to do the half regain. So have you seen the regain stuff? The regain tank, yeah. So you do that, you swing underneath, you get back on the rope, and you go again, and then you sprint to the top of. By this point, you're, you know.
I was going to say, there's a fucking lot going on in 13 minutes.
Oh, yeah, that's what I mean. So, like, everything is done, like, at 100% speed. and 100% intensity, because otherwise you won't get round. And then and if you mess up any obstacles, obviously you've got to go back to the start, do the obstacle again, losing time, having to sprint even further, even faster. And so you run back up, and like I say, it's a lot to be doing. There's a video actually, I'll put it in, of me just finishing the assault course, and you can see I thought I was moving fast. Right, you can see how fucked I am, because I'm moving so slowly, mate.
Is it?
Yeah.
Got T-Rex arms.
He got the fastest time the last time.
Come on then, Shepherd, head up, let's go! Come on, head up, attack it, let's go. Come on, let's get aggressive, no walking, let's get a move on. Right, sprint it in, last little bit.
And I go over the last obstacle and then go to the end bit. The end bit is the 30-foot wall. That's how you finish. You probably get there and you'll probably take about 30 seconds on this 30-foot wall. So it's a wall with like climbing grips and stuff.
Right.
And you've got a rope. So you use a rope and you put your feet on the climbing bits, and then you climb up as fast as you can, and then your lungs fall out your mouth and you say your name, and then you finish.
Is there some fucking PTI bollocking you at the top? Yeah, I can picture the scene.
Yeah, because you've got to bring the rope with you, and a lot of people just rap on that detail because they're fucked and they're forgotten, and that's obviously the worst thing, because then they don't stop your time until you fucking pull the rope
up.
And they're like, fucking pull the rope. You're supposed to sort the lad out, the next lad out, and that obviously lets the rope dangle freely.
So have you got any tips for tackling the Tarzan assault course?
Fucking hell.
Other than being really lightweight and good at pull-ups?
Yeah, pretty much. That's about it.
And not being scared of heights?
Yeah, fucking hell. But it's all about being able to concentrate at really high heart rates and under really loads of fatigue. Because as soon as you mess an obstacle up and you have to go and do it again, you've ruined.
Precious time, Kath, is it? So is it designed so there's no wiggle room? Like if you're having to redo an obstacle, you basically like fucked it.
Well, yeah, if you fall in the monkey bar thing, first of all you're wet and so you're fucking heavier. Then you've got to go back and do the monkey bars. If you've already messed it up once, you probably
it's like another 20 seconds minimum or something.
Minimum, and then you've got to think the extra weight on you is probably going to give you another 20 seconds. So
and like you said, unless it was just like a cognitive like time lapse. If you fucked it up once, because you're probably going to fuck it again, aren't you?
Yeah. And a lot of it is like technique. In terms of they obviously teach you the technique for everything, but the high obstacles, there's certain things you have to, you put your foot on a certain way and you put your knee inside and your foot on the outside, and that allows you to move freely. If you pay attention to all that, it's not too bad. And then you've just got to move through at like almost like an 8 out of 10, because if you went 10 out of 10 you'd mess up.
Yeah.
And like you'd fall off, right? But you go 8 out of 10, so you're just going fast enough so you don't mess things up, but you're at the same time not going too slow, so you're taking the piss. But there's actually, I think, a massive advantage in being a bit taller. So I was I'm same height as I was then, like 5'7", 5'8", and there's a thing where it's like two parallel ropes,
right? And
you sort of shimmy across.
Yeah,
you could picture that. Yeah.
Yeah.
The ropes are fucking well far apart. They're like 6'3" apart.
Yeah.
And so I'm like pulling down on them, almost doing like a pull up.
Yeah.
Under tension to get over, and then people who are like normal size, like 6 foot, they could just chill in, just fucking sound.
Yeah.
So that's difficult, but yeah, I think they've actually taken the punch through the net out now. That's what I'll say.
For health and safety reasons.
Yeah. But I think it was probably about time, because they were getting a lot of injuries doing that, which is not ideal.
So what's the transferable skill to the battlefield with that as well?
Don't know.
It's just like a standard. It's just like historically always been part of an assault course, hasn't it? Yeah. That kind of like rope punch through. But other than that, it's kind of a bit arbitrary, isn't it?
It is a little bit. I think it shows confidence at height, to be fair.
True. I guess there'd be other ways to replicate that though.
Yeah, it's just a little bit too risky nowadays, I think, because if you execute it, like I never had a problem. If you execute it right, it's fine. But if you are
like you said,
maybe a little bit, if you're a little bit cautious, so if you don't fully commit, then you're fucked, because you're not going to make it far enough and you'll catch your elbow. And
that's the whole point. You do have to fully commit it to get up to your shoulder.
You have to commit to the technique, and then you'll be fine. But yeah, a lot of the time people don't, and they mess it up. And some people just don't even jump.
I guess the repercussions of that are worse though. So like if you fail the monkey bars, you fall into water. If you fuck that up, you tear your pec.
Yeah, exactly.
This is slightly more on the line there.
A lot of